Well, it's Friday, and we all know what that means. Trish Rout with Southwest Florida Crime Stoppers joins us here in studio, telling us who we need to be on the lookout for. We've got another lineup today.
Some interesting folks, and most of them have got a little bit of a temper. And we're starting off our list this week with a guy who was so sour after a breakup that he held his ex against her will and sexually assaulted her. Thomas Bartleson was found guilty of those crimes and last week violated terms of his probation following his release from prison. The victim said she went to Bartleson's house to return some of his belongings after the split and told a friend that she'd be back soon. But when hours went by without a peep from the victim, the friend became concerned. Calls to the victim's cell phone were answered by Bartleson, who cursed at the friend and quickly hung up. That concerned friend called the sheriff's office, and when deputies arrived, they found the victim extremely upset and Bartleson fully loaded with excuses. Bartleson was arrested for kidnapping and rape and was ultimately found guilty and sent to prison for just over 2 years. He was released on probation, which he violated last week when he failed to complete a sex offender treatment program and bailed on his last address without informing his probation officer. Bartleson is 5'8", 175 pounds, and was last known to be living in East Fort Myers. Next up is a young woman who has left a criminal footprint from Hillsborough County right down to Fort Myers. Detectives are back on the hunt for Arquina Brown, a repeat offender wanted for violating probation on the heels of an arrest for drug possession. Her latest criminal mishap started when she was a passenger in a car with 2 men who were pulled over for a traffic stop. When the officer walked up to the vehicle and was overcome with a really strong scent of marijuana, Brown was among the 3 pulled out for further questioning. Officers said the 29-year-old was clutching a small bag and refused to let it go, probably because they later found several prepackaged baggies of weed and crack ready for sale on the streets. Brown ended her night in lockup and was eventually found guilty and placed on probation, which she violated 2 weeks ago. Brown has a lengthy history of questionable behavior and bad choices, with 6 local priors for battery, fraud, drugs, and crimes against the elderly or disabled. She's also spent time behind bars in Tampa. Brown is 5'4", 110 pounds, and upon her arrest, she will be held without bond. Also on the run this week is a woman who took her frustrations with a long wait at a nice restaurant just a little too far. A new warrant for the arrest of McCallum was issued this week after she violated her probation on charges of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, criminal mischief, and leaving the scene of a crash with injuries. Detectives say McCallum and a friend went to a restaurant and were told there'd be about an hour's wait. Although that agitated her, she opted to pass the time at the bar with a few drinks until her table was ready. When the hostess walked McCallum to her seat, she was loud and comments were laced with lots of expletives, which was obviously off-putting to other patrons. When her offensive behavior continued, she was politely asked to leave, at which point McCallum tossed a glass of water at the 67-year-old hostess before walking out. When a server followed her out to take a picture of her license plate, she threw her car in reverse, ran over the server, and smashed into the building, careening right into the restaurant's restroom area. She then left the scene but was tracked down by deputies a few days later who had a warrant for her arrest in hand. She eventually pled guilty and was placed on 48 months of state probation, which she violated this week. 56-year-old McCallum is 5'8", 115 pounds, and was last known to be living in the Iona area. And last on our list of felons with short tempers is Walvie Perez, wanted for failure to show backup in court on charges of aggravated battery and leaving the scene of a crash with a personal injury. Perez was working as a rideshare driver when he arrived at RSW in the taxi staging area. That's when he got into an argument with another driver about Perez's illegal parking. When things got a little too heated, the victim retreated to his car, but as he walked in front of Perez's SUV, the 55-year-old punched the gas pedal and struck the victim. Despite the man falling to the ground with multiple injuries, Perez kept on going and fled the general area. Fortunately, witnesses saw the whole thing go down and security cameras captured the plate number, which was traced back to Perez. He was located a few days later and spent 4 days in lockup before being released pending his next date in court. But when the judge called his name, Perez was nowhere to be found. Perez is 5'10", 220 pounds, and was last known to be living in Naples. And upon his arrest, he will be held without bond in the Lee County Jail. And as always, if you recognize any of the fugitives we've featured here today, you're asked to call the Crime Stoppers hotline. That number is 1-800-780-TIPS. All callers will remain anonymous and will be eligible for a cash reward of up to $3,000. And these people all have got really short fuses, violent offenders. So if you see them, don't take matters into your own hands. call Crime Stoppers. Let us take care of it for you.
Probably good to keep your distance.
Absolutely.
Trish, thank you so much.
Thanks, Alex.